All right, guys, thank you for joining me today or this afternoon. I had to bump this to 1 o'clock this afternoon, my time, because I had to go to the gym and work out today. So I couldn't miss another day of working out. So I just bumped it. So this might happen a little more often than not, especially now that I'm back into training. So I might get rid of the whole, mid morning, Wednesday morning, just call it Wednesday midweek report, especially if it starts happening later in the day. But anyway, not too important, just giving you guys a heads up. So there's a lot to talk about outside of the normal bullshit we talk about. With that, we're going to start. There's so many articles I can go over. I just don't know, where. So let's start with Russia State TV, of course, threatening the U.S. again, once again, threatening to destroy the East and West Coast with two Sarmat missiles each, right? So two for the East Coast, two for the West Coast. Again, Russia doesn't have their Sarmat missiles in operation yet. They said they'll be in operation later this year, and that's when it's, interestingly enough, again, guys, if I'm not mistaken, George Soros and a couple of people said we will have entered a nuclear third war by next year. This is the same time that Russia goes online with their Sarmat missiles. Now, this is what they said, Russia said, as far as getting it online. So it could be online in December, or it could be online next January. Nonetheless, it seems to be on the same timetable or schedule that everybody's predicting that we go into a third world war. Now, again, Russia has been making these threats for a few months now, and well, almost a year actually. They actually started last year making these threats. So again, we're just gonna wait and see. And if they decide to nuke us, then it is what it is. We'll retaliate, and then it should end, according to a Jewish proverb, or how you say, not fortune telling, but prediction. The war should be over in 8 minutes, right? And that'll be the longest 8 minutes of everybody's fucking life. Whatever. We'll get to that fucking point in time when we get there. And of course, again, Russia's threatening NATO and saying that NATO has started the Third World War. So even Russia is admitting that we are in the Third World War, and we haven't hit the peak yet, right? So obviously we just entered the stage, and when we hit the peak, that's when it all falls apart. But again, guys, it's Russia. I mean, they've been threatening us for fucking ever. So I take what they say with a grain of fucking salt. Now, more importantly, Bill Gates says the next pandemic could be an act of bioterrorism. He said this the other day. I think it was Tuesday, maybe he said it. And he believes that the next pandemic could be a deliberate one. All over again. Repeating the same shit. Again, the U.S. multi-billionaire, known for his co-founding Microsoft and for his global health advocacy, whatever, has spoken out numerous times since the outbreak of COVID, and even warned that a novel pandemic disease a few years back beforehand. So they're giving him credit for warning us about the pandemic. He goes on to state that probably within the next 2 decades, the next pandemic will be on purpose. Now, he didn't say on purpose, but he said deliberate. Now, guys, every time they give him the platform to talk, whenever the fuck they give him the platform to talk, he always goes back to the human population is growing, and we are invading more and more. We are invading more and more ecosystems, meaning we're damaging them. He goes back to blaming the human race for destroying the planet. All right, whatever. Forced and things like that, I get. But he always goes back to us being the cause, and that if we continue the path we're continuing, we're going to be destroyed by some kind of pandemic. And this is Bill Gates, right? So, anyway, guys, and he says, according to him, we have a 50% chance that we will have a pandemic of natural origin in the next 20 years as a result of climate change. So not only will it be, we will have an attack, if you will, on purpose, we also have a 50% chance of waking something up from the earth. Now, yes, I get it. A lot of the stuff that's in the permafrost, they said that's starting to melt, could release diseases that have been lying dormant for thousands, tens of thousands of years. I get that. But again, they always let Bill Gates say this shit. It's as if he's like the warning alarm for everyone. Anyway, moving right along. Since the COVID pandemic, familiar viruses and infections are behaving differently. So, what a doctor was saying, which I found very interesting because I just got over another cold. And now I haven't been sick in years. COVID comes around, and now all of a sudden, I'm sick twice in a year. I had COVID, I think it was in January or February, and then I had this bullshit cold a couple weeks ago. With that, the doctor states because we weren't around one another and we weren't being exposed to one another, our body is now responding to every little infection or cold that's out there because our immune system is down. It's not up to where it used to be. Now, some of us are strengthening our immune system or keeping our immune system not operating at a high level, but just high enough to ward off a lot of the shit. But the rest of society is not, and they are suffering by constant visits to the hospital and or doctor's office with something as simple as a common cold, which is now acting differently. So if you had a common cold before, you had a cough, a sneeze, and and that was it. But people are having longer coughs, heavier sneeze attacks, and higher or more frequent fevers, if you will. So that's all because we weren't around one another. So they say. Okay, so also, just a quick note, a man disguised as an elderly woman smeared cake on the Mona Lisa painting. So now, when I heard this, I said, oh, not a big deal. It's usually behind like a glass or something. No, he smeared cake on the original Mona Lisa. So though that picture should have some kind of protective layer on it, at least I thought it did. A lot of people are saying it does. It doesn't have a protective like film of paint, if you will. So now they have to sit there and do, I call it painting operation, to clean this carefully so that they don't wipe off or disrupt the original paint. Because the problem with this guy smearing cake on that painting is that this is basic paint. I think it was oil-based, if I'm not mistaken. And the acid in the frosting of the cake itself could absolutely destroy the picture. So with that happened wherever the hell this fucking museum is. Where is the Mona Lisa anyway? I guess it's in Italy or France. Yeah, France, right? So this guy dressed up like an old woman to go inside and restoration. Thank you, my skydive. That's what I meant. Fucking painting operations or painting surgery, whatever. Yes, it's in France, and they're gonna have to restore the painting, but it's probably gonna take them a little while. Again, because they're worried about the chemicals in the cake affecting the painting. Well, what you call it? Christian Prepper. I'm looking at the picture, and there's no glass in front of it. It's on the painting. Now, I thought the same thing, too. I thought that there was glass over it, but there's actual cake on the painting itself. So I find that interesting that it wasn't protected. But I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. I thought that these old arts were all protected behind the glass, but apparently they're not. Or at least not all of them. And they said the safety glass protection was on the painting from 1956, but been removed after they had an acid attack back when. Don't know when it was. When it was. Well, I don't know when that acid attack was. But that was a wake-up call for curators to protect the piece from vandalizing. Yeah. So they took apparently they took the glass off. So it was actually exposed. Miss C, listen, that was the thing. I thought that Miss Skydive, my Skydive 11, thank you. They had glass on it. I remember them talking about glass protecting a lot of the older paintings, but then they took it off. But I thought they took it off just because they didn't think anybody was going to attack it. No, they took it off because it was an acid attack years back. So anyway, the The duplicate, I thought, is what they would have had in the museum, not the original. But I was wrong. They had the original painting because I heard it. I'm like, it's a duplicate. It's okay. They'll just fucking clean it off and put another one up there. Nope, not at all. So, guys, with that, we are 10 minutes in. Wow, that was fast. Let's switch gears to another media source. Now, I'm going to talk about Top Gun Maverick or Top Gun 2. This movie, by the way, guys, was an absolutely fucking awesome movie. It was by far the best sequel ever made. It blew any and all sequels out of the water, and it blew the original out of the water. With that being said, the movie got even better when I read two articles this week. One was a tech company, a Chinese tech company, pulled out of the movie because of a pro-U.S. message. The Chinese tech company is a bunch of dicks. I mean, it's the U.S. military, United States Navy to be exact. And what did you think it was going to be? Like, where did you think that there was going to be, a pro-Chinese? It was the weirdest reason why they pulled out. Bitter critter, thank you for the donation. I thought that was strange that they found issue with a pro-America message in a military movie. Nonetheless, guys, I know that some of you remember I talked about my dismay with the Top Gun production removing the Taiwanese flag off the jacket. Well, they put the Taiwanese flag back on the jacket after this Chinese tech company pulled out. Supposedly, Paramount is done with placating or censoring themselves for the Chinese. They're pretty much done with trying to play along with the Chinese rules. And they saw this actually with Disney, where Disney had to cut out a scene, I forgot from what movie, a couple of months ago, and then they also wanted them to cut out a scene from Doctor Strange's new movie because the kid in the movie just mentioned my two mothers X, Y, and Z. Now, everybody knows where I stand with the whole LGBT bullshit. It doesn't need to be in movies. But the fact that Disney didn't remove it was a good message in the sense that they are no longer playing along with the Chinese censorship. We are no longer censoring American movies for the Chinese. And this came out of a couple of production companies. They're done with them. So that was even better. So Top Gun became even a way better movie after putting the Taiwanese flag back on the jacket and telling the Chinese government to go fuck themselves, essentially. They didn't say that But nonetheless, guys, they're making a stand. And they had enough. Everyone's had enough. And a lot of people in the movie industry, a lot of the firms that pay in to support movies, they had enough with playing with with Chinese rules and Chinese censorship. So whatever is in movies now is in movies. And if the Chinese don't like it, well, fuck them. It's enough already fucking trying to sit there and appease people who are on the other side of the fucking world. With that, guys, last night, you heard me talk about a woman who was sexually attracted to planes. A toy Boeing, actually, she wants to marry. A toy Boeing 737. She calls it her boyfriend. So now, initially, when you look at this girl, I thought she was one of those gender bending, fluid, air bending people. But no, she's a chick who's in love with a plane who calls it her boyfriend. This is the psychological America, the psych-damaging America we live in, guys. Dakota Hayes. Yes, screw Disney. I'm not going to dismiss them for the bullshit they're pulling. I'm just saying good for them for not playing along with Chinese bullshit. Or China's bullshit, sorry. So, guys, this chick has 50 replica models of the 737 at home. I don't know. She calls the Boeing Dickie and hopes to wed one day, even though it's illegal. She's fucking German. I knew it. These fucking German people, they like pissing and shit on each other and they marry fucking planes. My fucking God. Whatever. Whatever. She has a problem. and she needs to go see a doctor. Period. I just don't understand this. Whew, okay, whatever. That story's done. I can't deal with it. I can't. I'm trying to report it and be like, and it's not working. This is fucking insane. She's fucking marrying a plane. It's the stupidest thing I ever fucking heard. Oh, whatever. And people like to say to each his own. But that's what got us to where we are today. Because to each his own is growing into a problem. Because now we're seeing people wanting to marry planes. What the fuck, man? Seriously. Anyway. Moving right along. A teacher in a North Carolina school presented flashcards, or LGBT flashcards, to educate preschoolers. Preschoolers. Little fucking people with grubby, sticky hands all the time. Preschoolers. Again, this is in North Carolina. The lesson, of course, was controversial because it was about rainbow families. And the flashcards were flashcards that, again, went over the LGBT flag, for example. The fucking 1,000 colors in the LGBT flag. The colors in the LGBT flag. It goes over what each one represents. It even goes over the representation of a pregnant man. This is the flashcards. So, anyway, with that, guys, I found it interesting. The wording was was interesting in the article because they said, we got the flashcards out of the school as if it was a fucking grenade or some shit. We made sure we distanced ourselves from that card and got it out of the school. What? Okay, what about, I don't know, suspending the teacher? Now, should the teacher get fired? No. Should the teacher get suspended? Yes. Suspend the shit out of the fucking teachers for fucking doing that. What on God's green earth why would a teacher do that? Why would a teacher sit there with flashcards and teach kids about something they don't even give a fuck about? I'm 1,000% sure these kids can care less about the fucking rainbow flag. I know I do. Somebody tries to explain to me, well, this color means I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. You can, parade that. Listen, guys, today, Apple, because they're fucking liberal pricks, when you go on your phone and you open up the Apple calendar, on the Apple calendar, it says first day of LGBT and Pride Month. Sorry, LGBT plus Pride Month. On the phone. Right here. Why am I being notified of a fucking month and or the first day of it? I don't give a fuck. I can care less. This day can fucking take a shit. This month can take a shit. June doesn't exist to me. June is an obnoxious fucking month. That's where we are today. It's super obnoxious, guys. Every email I got today was, you want to celebrate Pride with us? Come read Pride books. No, I don't want to read Pride books. I don't want to drink rainbow tea. I can care fucking less about Pride coffee. I don't give a fuck about any of it. But yet, it's overbearing. Now, my dismay with this month, and it's a bit one-sided, if you will. I'll use Black History Month, for example. Black History Month is a month that doesn't get a quarter of the attention that Pride Month gets. Other months, guys, that people celebrate don't get a quarter of the attention Pride Month gets. Pride Month, first of all, the LGBT community in the United States is well under 5%, right? Or maybe at 5%, right? Whatever it is. That's 5% of the entire country, and yet we celebrate Pride Month for 5% of the fucking population. So now I have to not only got to look out for dudes on fucking Vespas, now I got to look for fucking rainbow flags flying all over the goddamn place. Now listen, you want to fly the rainbow flag? Fine. But it's not the same as the American flag. It's why I disagree with the Pride flag. Because the Pride flag, at least the LGBT community, try to put that shit flag on the same page as the American flag. There is no other flag other than the American flag. That's it. You want to have your Pride flag? Fine. But don't put it on the same stage, if you will, as the American flag. TL said June is Black Music Month. Yes, and guess what happened to Black Music Month? It got drowned out by the fucking LGBT bullshit. Yeah, rainbow tea. I'm pretty sure it's a thing. I Survival Living, I made it up, but I'm 1,000% sure it's a fucking thing. But nonetheless, guys, it's overbearing. This month is enough. Seriously. Everywhere you look, they have the city bikes. They have the city bikes with the rainbow flag on it. They have buses and trains, cop cars with they have cop cars with that are painted in pride colors. They have a fire truck. I think that's pride. Every fucking vehicle has a pride color for 5% of the population. They move mountains for these people for their month. You couldn't do the same for Black History Month. Slim Shady, yeah, Juneteenth is on my phone too, but it's one day. Again, I don't agree with celebrating Juneteenth because that's a Texas holiday, you know, and it started in Texas. Now all of a sudden, everybody wants to celebrate something that happened in Texas and actually was meant for black Texans, not fucking the entire United States. Black Texans. That's theirs to celebrate. But whatever. If people want to celebrate it, so be it. But it's going to be drowned out because I can guarantee you, if you talk about Juneteenth, they're going to have, celebrate Juneteenth with pride. And then some gay dude's going to come out of a fucking cake, like fucking with his bullshit. So, again, whatever month you think this is or whatever day you think you're going to celebrate, nope. The gay people hijacked the month. It's done. This is their month. I could actually put my head in the sand for this entire month and be fucking fine with it. Because it's overbearing. It's enough, man. And then you go on Netflix, and I don't watch any gay television shows. Zero. I don't watch any of that stuff. Yet, anytime someone's by the door, he starts barking. Yet, guys, Netflix has a whole Pride Month section. Why do I care? When was the fucking last time you saw me walking around with a broken wrist? Right? But whatever, man. That's and yet they push it. They tell you, you can customize your Netflix account to movies and shows you want to watch. And yet they force that bullshit on me. Right? You know what else they're forcing on me? Indian movies. I'm like, when the fuck... why would I watch indie movies? Like, why is that a thing? Why are there indie movies on my Netflix account? I didn't fucking watch Alibaba or any of those fucking movies. Why is it on there? But nonetheless, they force you to watch, Doesn't work. Anytime he hears something, he goes fucking bananas. But anyway, guys, that's my my gripe with the whole LGBT bullshit. Interestingly enough, Eric Adams actually condemned the NYC Gay Pride Parade for not letting cops march in their uniforms. I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought he would have been like, I agree with it. He actually took issue with it. So I'm a little surprised that he took issue with it, being he's such a fucking, being as he's such a super liberal. But I guess he's not that liberal. So, with that, guys, enough about the LGBT shit. Though, because it's this month, that's all we have to fucking talk about. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. And then there was Joe Rogan saying he opposes gun control, stating only criminals will have guns after you take guns away from the American citizen. And yes, everybody agrees. But of course, Joe Rogan's catching flack for it. I don't know what people thought or who they think Joe Rogan is. Joe Rogan is a fair, down-the-middle dude. I wouldn't call him conservative, but I wouldn't call him liberal. He's fair. He's fair, right? Survival Living says, yeah, Netflix is the worst pushing the narrative films. Yeah, they are. I know some of you guys, you have black films on your thing. You're like, why is Boys in the Hood and fucking Menace to Society popping up in my movies I might like? You never watch those films, and yet you're looking at that. I watch those films. That's me. But again, why are they pushing indie movies and fucking gay movies? I don't watch either of them. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then they had Japanese anime on my shit to boot. I was really fucking annoyed. I'm like, I haven't watched a Japanese anime film in like fucking 20 years. When I was heavily into it, it was great, but now I'm not anymore because I grew the fuck up. But yet, it still shows up on my Netflix thing. So, to avoid a lot of that, guys, you have to give those TV shows, unfortunately, you have to click into them, and you have to give them a thumbs down. When you give them a thumbs down, then it recalibrates. But you got to give like 3 or 4 of them a thumbs down. Then it recalibrates your Netflix account, and then you'll start seeing what you want to see. Right now, I mean, like, we're hanging on to Netflix, though Netflix is losing bad because so many other streaming services came out, and when the streaming services came out, they started pulling their movies off Netflix. Now Netflix that's why they're pushing indie movies and gay movies, because they got nothing less to push. And so, yeah. Anyway, and listen, guys, I don't have a problem watching a gay movie as long as there's a good storyline behind it. But to push all aspects, and in every gay movie, they all have the same fucking issue. I was scared to come out. My daddy hated me. My mother didn't hug me enough. My friends found out, they bullied me. They're all the fucking same, right? And every gay guy's name is James or John or some shit like that, or Mike. And it's like they all have the same fucking storyline. I want to be accepted, but I can't. And then they break out into a song and start dancing and shit. You're like, what the fuck? That's fucking like the majority of them now. So anyway, Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, you know what's funny? I watched that movie, Brokeback Mountain. It wasn't bad, but I couldn't buy it. I really couldn't buy that love story. It was bad. The only good thing about the movie was the cinematography, and after that, the movie was okay. It wasn't exponentially bad, but it wasn't what they made it to be. The same thing with that movie, Moonlight. I never saw it, but it got an Academy Award because it had a gay undertone to it, or rather, the character was gay. And you see what they push, guys. You see the movies they push. If you have a gay undertone to your movie, it's a hit. We could do a prepper movie, guys. As long as the two main characters in the movie are gay, it'll be a hit movie. You do 1 second after with gay characters, it'll be a hit movie. You see, and if the gay characters break out in a song and dance, forget about it. It's a fucking classic in the gay community. But enough already with ragging on the LGBT community, because I have to save some for the rest of this month. Right? Luke says, I saw Moonlight. It was interesting, to say the least. Yeah, my wife saw Moonlight. She was like, it wasn't that great. She didn't think it was a good movie. It wasn't anything profound about it, And that's the problem. A lot of the profound gay movies, black movies, the struggling movies of The Irishman and the Spanish, those are done with, gone. We don't live in that day and age anymore, right? We live in the now. The whole still pushing the narrative of how I struggle to come out of the closet. You're right. Shut up. Grow the fuck up already. It's 2022. It's not 1982, right? Just come out of the goddamn, fall out of the closet, do backflips, whatever you guys do. Come out in clogs and shit. Just come out already. But that whole, like, I had a struggling moment. Shut up, pussy. Jesus, it's the worst. They keep trying to push the feel sorry for me narrative. Whatever, man. Anyway, guys, with that being said, yes, we are almost at the half-hour mark. It's enough. It's just, and it's the first day. I have to come up with some more material for the rest of this month, because I might as well. We'll celebrate it by ragging on them. But yeah. Oh, that was the other thing too. The schools here in New York are going to start pushing LGBT books for this month. Let's just keep in mind, when Black History Month came in, they gave everybody one book. Here you go. And it was like all the black heroes in a 32-page book. And that was it. Right? And then here, they're going to give them I'm talking about many, many multitudes of books to read from, and tell them, you better read this or else. You should start in the gay prepper movie. DJ Smiley, yes, as the guy ragging on the gay dudes. That's the homophobic guy that lives in a fucking cave. That'll be me. But, yeah. Anyway, guys. Interesting shit that went on. Again, like I said last week, people falling in love with airplanes. Putin threatening us again, or rather his administration threatening us again. Yeah. It's just fucking, it is what it is. Again, other things are going on this planet, but we are all being stuck with the bullshit of the incoming blackouts that they keep warning us about. They are turning up the warning signal on the blackouts. Like every article now is about, you better get ready for blackout. This is what you need to do. Better get ready for hurricane season, because I think hurricane season this year is going to be out of control. I think we might even see one up this far, New York this year. Being that this summer is going to be a lot hotter than it was before. Yes, Luz, the world is a hot mess. It's all falling apart, man. It's all falling apart. It's just like, what the fuck? People just don't I don't know. Black Bobcat. Well, yeah, whatever, guys. Well, anyway, no 737. Nice name change, by the way. But no, I'm not taking my shirt off because you will own nothing and be happy. All right. So with that, guys, thank you for joining me. I think my next live stream is going to be Friday night. I'm on tomorrow night with Rogue Preparedness, and I think you got to check her channel. But I want to say 7 o'clock our time Eastern, and I think it's 6 o'clock her time. That will make it 7 o'clock my time. Yes, right. So whatever. But to double check, go on Rogue Preparedness' site, and I think she has it up already. All right, guys. So other than that, thank you guys for joining me this afternoon, and I will see you guys on Friday. All right, guys. Thank you.